I was really sad that I didn't see Mary Berry. Women having a party, or it was basically the girls, the gays, and the middle-aged mums. Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. Today I'm going to be talking about how recently I've been in London a lot for the Chelsea Flower Show. I've also been on an ABBA kind of cruise boat thing on the Thames, which is pretty cool. And I'm also going to be talking about Mickey and his poorly eye. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. Also, did you know that Red Post have an app? So be sure to download the Red Post app. On there you can get a code for 5% off, which is pretty cool. So if you want a discount, also on there it's so easy to buy things because they have Apple Pay, they have Klarna, they have all the easy and fun stuff. But anyway, let's get into the podcast of what I've been up to recently. So goodness, I've been in London a lot. I thought I would talk in kind of like chronological order. So first off, the other weekend, it was my friend's birthday and we managed to get tickets to go on this ABBA boat, which apparently, normally, if you want to get on it, it's kind of, I sound like, yeah, guys, I got into this exclusive club, look at me. But it's one of those things where when tickets are released, you have to get them because it does get booked up really quickly and they only have so many in the calendar. I'm pretty sure that this is not an ad for them or anything. I just thought it was good fun and I talked to you about my experience, what I thought about it. But yeah, there was a big old group of girls that we all went. I think there was like 11 of us, so a good old group of us, so we really made it a party. So we got the train up to London and one of my friends bought us all these like feather boas to wear. I can't lie, it didn't look too feathery or too full because she ordered them online, and you know, sometimes when you order stuff you're like, this ain't quite what I was expecting. So the feathers weren't as fluffy. They looked a little bit anemic. So anyway, but it was still good fun. And the problem was we were walking around London and slowly these feathers started to like drop off. So we were like molting everywhere. So by the time we got to the ABBA boat, we basically just had like strings around our necks. So yeah, don't buy feather boas online. That's a little top tip. Maybe buy them from a proper fancy dress shop. Inspect the quality anyway. So that was good fun. And we arrived, we got in the queue, and we weren't really sure what sort of, well, we had a thought, we're like, who's going to be on an ABBA boat? And we looked at the queue, it was basically the clientele, the sort of people, the customers on this boat were filled with middle-aged mums, women on hen dos, women having a party, or it was basically the girls, the gays, and the middle-aged mums. And it was a great time. I tell you what, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like going clubbing, but without men. And it was great. It was great. You didn't have to worry about getting your drink spiked. You didn't have to worry about like weird people coming up and talking to you. It was a vibe. It was great. It was like the girls' toilets when you go out, but just on a boat. So everyone was so lovely. We're all dancing together. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, I love your outfit. I love your outfit. Like that kind of thing. It was just a really lovely vibe. So the boat actually had 3 different layers. So the bottom layer was like a little bit darker. Also, you did have a lovely view wherever you were on the boat of kind of London, because we went up the Thames and down the Thames. We went both ways because at first when we turned around or making our way back, we were like, oh, we've still got like a few more hours. I wonder where we're going. And then we just went up on the other side of London and we got a full-on view. So to be fair, my grandma, she loves a bit of travel. She always says if you go to a new city or a new town or somewhere on holiday, get a hop and stop bus. She says when you first arrive, get on one of those buses, sit on the top, go around, you can have a look at everything, it will show you all the kind of landmarks and things, and you can see where you want to go for the rest of your trip. So that is some travel advice from my nana. Anyway, back to the boat. So yeah, I'd describe the bottom floor had kind of like the younger people. It was kind of the more kind of nightclub vibe because it was a little bit darker. The middle floor was a little bit, to be fair, that was the floor that we were mainly on because We managed to bag a table. There aren't many tables or seats there, so make sure you bring your dancing shoes because you're going to be on your feet a lot. I'd say the middle floor was a little bit like village hall 40th birthday party, but in the best way possible, so that was also really good fun. And then they had like a little outside area, which was kind of like, I'd describe as like the smoking area, so I didn't go there personally very much, but on the top level, it was like a topless kind of level, which was very cool because it was like a pub. The best way I describe it was a bit like a pub garden. So there wasn't like loads of really loud music there. It was a little bit more chilled. Everyone was sitting there because we were really lucky with the weather actually. When we first went off to London, it was pelting it down with rain. We all had our rain jackets on over our dresses and funky kind of 70s outfits, and we were like, this is not going to be good. But when we got on the boat, the sunshine came out and like everyone on the top level was sunbathing, chilling, chatting. It was just 10 out of 10 vibes. It was great. It was really good fun. And of course, actually, I'd say they had less ABBA music than I was expecting. It was more kind of like 70s music to start with. So the whole time I was there, I was like, my mum would love this. She was one of those people like back in the day that would love Top of the Pops. If you are a parent or somebody older that is listening to this, you will know what I mean. But if you're a younger generation like me, you'll probably be like, girl, what are you going on about? But to be fair, all of the 70s songs I knew. Don't know if that's because that's the year that my parents were born in, but anyway, so we were all having a really good time and would recommend. To be fair, I'm one of those people that whenever I go and do something, or if I've like planned something out, like if it's a restaurant that I'm going to, if I'm going out or something like that, I will do my research. Like I was looking on all the social medias, what people were wearing, what it looked like, because nowadays people just vlog everything. So if you're going to do something, just go on the internet and see what people think. So yeah, had a good old time on the old ABBA boat. I'm trying to think if there was anything like really out there or embarrassing that happened, but no, it was just good vibes. Then the next time, that was on the Saturday that I did the ABBA boat. Then Sunday I had a rest day. I had a gardening day, and then on the Monday I was back up to London again, and I felt like I was living my commuter life. Now, to most people who are commuters, this probably doesn't seem very exciting, but to me, I got to pretend that I was a gal that works in London, works in the city, because where I do live, actually, to be fair, I've got a few friends that work in London, or people that I know that work in London that travel up on the train every day now, when I personally could not do that. So props to you, hats off to you guys that do that commute every day. Actually, we were travelling up on a Monday, and nowadays, nobody goes into the office on a Monday. Everyone works from home on a Monday. So I thought, I'm going to be with the, in the big smoke with the hustle and bustle, going around, that kind of thing. But no, it was very quiet, very civilized. I had a seat on the train, everything. I was expecting to stand. But anyway, I was actually quite proud of myself. I got up at 5:30 that morning. Still had time to have my cup of tea in the morning, because I'm that person. I like to have a cup of tea, like to defrost a little bit. That's how I describe it when I wake up. Did a full face of makeup, dress, even filmed like a makeup get ready with me. I was going to say get dressed with me, but do not worry. This is a family friendly channel. I was dressed on camera. It was just me putting my shoes on and putting a handbag and a jacket on over the top of my dress. Don't worry. It's not that kind of content. And then, got on the train and was like, wow, I'm living the commuter life. So we actually got to London very quickly. So my dad came and picked me up in the car at 6:20, I think it was. And by 8 o'clock, I was in London, ready to go. And we got there a little bit earlier than expected. So we were like, do we walk? Do we get a tube across? And we're like, you know what? It's a nice sunny day. We'll have a walk. So we had a lovely little mooch about London, a little walkabout. Also, just want to say that for my day, this is for the Royal Chelsea Flower Show. We were there for the morning, which was really good fun. But also, because I was wearing a dress and all dressed up and that kind of thing, I was wearing heels all day. I was wearing my Fairfax heels, and I tell you what, they were I think I'd maybe worn them once before, but this was like a proper like walking around on my feet all day kind of thing. And they were great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. No blisters, no rubbing, no feet hurting. They were the wedges, the Monaco wedges, I believe, in white. if you want to know specifics. But anyway, so I was walking around in those. And do you know what was so weird about the Chelsea Flower Show was that I have been to that the Royal Chelsea Hospital kind of like, I was going to say showground. It's not really a showground, but kind of. They do a lot of events there. I've been there many times before for horse shows and things. And I went there for the flower show the other day and I was like, this is so weird. I'm like, that's where the stable should be. That's where the arena should be. And I tell you what, for the flower show, they go all out. Like, it was huge. They had like an extra whole area that I'd never been in before, which was kind of like in parks and stuff, which is very pretty. They also had this massive temporary tent that they put up just for the show. And it was huge. I don't know how big it was, but it was... goodness, like 7 different sports halls put together. I don't know, it was huge. But also what was very strange, it felt like going into like an alternate reality for me, because I'm so used to going to horse shows, but because it was a flower show, it was so similar in some ways but so different in others, in the sense like they had a media centre. And I walked on in and I was like, this is just like every other media centre I've gone to in my life. I've hung around media centres quite a while. I spent a lot of my time in my life in there. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's exactly the same as the horse ones. I don't know why I would have thought it would have been any different, because if you're media, you need the Wi-Fi password up on the walls or on the tables. Everyone has like a little table that they kind of like bagsy and put their bag on. Everyone had like their suitcases or bags with cameras in that they kind of lock up to the tables. They have like a little coffee and tea station, like most media centres as well. So no, it was cool. Do you know what was really funny though? So normally at horse shows, you get a thing called a start list, where it basically says who's competing, what horse they're riding, what time they're on, that kind of thing. And do you know what they had at the Royal Chelsea Flower Show? They had a celebrity spotting list, which I don't know why, but it really cracked me up. It was like, it looked like the sort of sheet that you would get maybe at like Christmas time at school, where you've done all your work for the year, and on the last day of school, the teachers are like, let's do a fun quiz, or let's, do something a little bit wacky or fun, and maybe like you have to, I don't know, think of a celebrity and see what they rhyme as. That's honestly what it made me think of, because they just had this sheet with all these celebrities' faces on and their names underneath, and it was like, can you spot them all? It was like I was on like a little Easter egg hunt. I should have taken it with me and crossed them off as I was going around. That probably would have looked very weird, but the majority of the people, I would say, I would describe as like BBC celebrities. So if you're from like a different country other than England or the British Isles, you'll probably be like, I don't know who half these people are. But if you're British, you'll probably know who all these people are. So I'm trying to think of like some celebrities that I saw. I was really sad that I didn't see Mary Berry, because she was on the list, and I saw someone on Instagram post that they saw her there, and I was like, oh, I missed her, because my friend is obsessed with Mary Berry. So I was like, I would have rubbed that in her face. It would have been like, I got to see her. But no, I didn't, which was sad. What else? They're just like, there were a few Olympians, TV personalities, presenters, that kind of thing. But also what was really cool, they were obviously doing a lot of filming for the BBC there. And because I went on the Monday, which is the media day, which I am very, very lucky that I was able to go on that day, because apparently if you go on any of the other days, it is so busy. You have to stand behind like a queue of 5-6 people just to get a glimpse at some of the like the flowers and the arrangements and the gardens and stuff, which sounds like Badminton and Burley and that kind of thing. So apparently, well, it is like one of the biggest flower shows in the UK, if not the biggest. So there we go, the biggest. But so that was very cool. So if you want to know, I was going to say, this is my Chelsea Flower Show routine. Not like that. But if you want to know what I got up to that day, so the first thing we did was obviously have a little mooch about and take it all in, because we were trying to figure out our way around the place. And we first went to Boodles, who do very nice diamonds that I've been working with and been ambassador for quite a while now. I think it was 2021 that I first met Mimi from Boodles and chatted to her, and that was at Blenheim, I believe. They were one of the sponsors. So yeah, I got to wear some very expensive and very, very nice diamond earrings and a diamond necklace as well. So if you have not seen the photos on socials, go and look at them, because they were gorgeous. So went there. I always feel a little bit scared walking around wearing stuff that fancy, because I was like, there was one bit where I was like vlogging on my vlog camera, so hopefully you guys will get to see a little bit on a video on my channel coming at some stage, where I also do a garden renovation, garden makeover, which I cannot tell you how satisfying it is. I get the pressure washer out and everything on my patio, because this patio has got it's got in a bit of a state. Well, to be fair though, there are a few weeds growing in it already when I got the house, but I just left it. And these weeds, you could barely see the patio anymore. The patio was like, see ya, adios, I'm being taken over. So when I did all the weeding and all the pressure washing, I felt like an archaeologist. I felt like I was... Actually, to be fair, archaeologists definitely would not use a pressure washer, because that would destroy any sort of artifacts or anything underneath. They're like there with like a tiny little brush, slowly brushing away not to destroy it, when I was like violence with my pressure washer, like proper going in it, being like, go weeds, die, like get up, that kind of thing. So anyway, I had a bit too much fun with the pressure washer. I did get absolutely filthy, like all over me, mud splats, because basically in between all the cracks on my patio, all of the pug or the grouting or whatever you want to call it, cement, that had been eaten away by moss and weeds and that kind of thing. So I basically was just spraying all of this mud out of all the gaps. So I looked a right old state. So that's what I was looking like on the Sunday. And then on the Monday at the Chelsea Flower Show, I was there beautifully all dressed up. To be fair, I think I might have still had a bit of mud ingrained in my fingers. But you know what? I was around gardeners. They would understand. Also, I did have a bit of a fight with a bramble bush. So that's why I was, apart from the jacket was very nice and I didn't want to get sunburn. And it was a little bit chillier in places. So I was quite happy to have a jacket on. But I probably should have worn long sleeves the day before when I was doing the gardening, because I had a fight with a bramble bush. And it was 0-1, bramble bush 1, Esme 0, or nil, or whatever you want to say. That bramble bush, it attacked me. We had beef, but it's gone now. It's I was going to say it's sleeping with the fishes. It's sleeping on the compost bin. Anyway, so that has gone now. But I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be going to this really posh flower show and I've just got all these bramble scratches up my arms. That doesn't look very professional, and bruises, because the amount of, I don't know, just being on your hands and knees and getting out all these weeds and stuff. I was looking a right old state, but anyway, I managed to make myself look presentable. Oh yeah, what I was saying, I was vlogging for the end of the video because I wanted to get some inspiration for my garden while I was at the flower show. And while I was kind of like going around with this vlog camera, my dad was like, you go off, you go vlog. And then about 5-10 minutes after I'd gone, he was like, wait a second, she's got all these diamonds on her. I better, be around her just in case anyone goes, you know what, that looks quite nice. I'll take a swipe. But I'll tell you what, the people of the Royal Chelsea Flower Show do not seem like the sort of people that would be like that, because most people were pensioners or older people. I'd say that I was definitely I probably was the youngest person there, to be honest. But I tell you what, I was having so much fun. And do you know what was weird? It was being at a show, being able to walk around, not being recognised, which is quite good fun. But also, there just weren't any in that kind of sector, or in the flower world or horticulture world. There just weren't any like influencers or content creators. Obviously, they had all the TV personalities and all the like gardening TV people, but there wasn't anyone, doing what we were doing with all the cameras and taking photos and that kind of thing. Really, it was mainly old media rather than social media, if that makes sense. So that was quite cool, because we were going around taking photos, filming things, and it was really weird because we had so many people come up to us being like, oh, what are you doing? What are you filming for? Dad, actually, he was obviously taking photos and had all these cameras and things, and the amount of people that came up to us like asking what camera we were using, asking my dad how to take photos, or like how he was like the camera guru at the show. Everyone was asking him like about lighting and lenses, and they were geeking out about cameras, which, to be fair, it does happen often at horse shows, but this was more like asking him advice rather than being like, oh, what's your setup, what's your, I don't know, camera stuff. A bit like, you know, when car guys come up to each other and be like, oh, how many horsepower is your car? Like that kind of thing. It was like, oh, what camera have you got? But that was quite funny. But yeah, I just realised, because we ended up chatting to quite a lot of different people from different places. So there was this one greenhouse company that we ended up chatting to for ages, because at shows like this, you just kind of like end up chatting to people, making friends and that kind of thing. And we were like, oh yeah, well, like, what's your socials? We'll like tag you, because at first they were like, oh, you look really pretty in your dress, can we take a picture of you and put it on socials? I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, if you tag me, I'll repost it. So we ended up chatting and things, and we kind of realised that all of these like kind of flower, greenhouse, horticulture brands, they weren't used to like influencers or content creators. So we were like, yeah, we'll tag you anyway. So that was quite good fun, going around and chatting. I only made one purchase, which was, some people are going to be like, Esme, this is really sad, but I feel like I'm living my middle-aged mum dream, in the sense that I have an Emma Bridgewater collection. Now, if you don't know what an Emma Bridgewater collection is, basically Emma Bridgewater does very pretty mugs, teapots, basically like chinaware. She does other bits and bobs too, but they often have very pretty kind of like British flowers on. Or actually, I got a mug for my nana one year. I can't remember if it was birthday or Christmas, because they do ones with dogs on, and it looked just like her dog. And I was like, I need to get you this mug. They are a little bit more on the pricier side, but as I said before, every morning I have a cup of tea, and it's just like, it's something that I use every day, and it's something that brings me great joy, and they're a good sturdy mug. So I do have a little collection, and they did have a special mug with yellow flowers on. Actually, they had two different ones, but I chose the one with little ladybirds on because I thought that was cute too. I can't remember what it was for. It was for some sort of this is really bad, I don't know what it is. I haven't actually taken out the packaging yet, because I need to wash it before I use it. But anyway, it was for some sort of gardening charity, and I was like, you are really cute. I don't have a yellow Emma Bridgewater mug yet, so I was like, you're coming home with me. So there we go. It can go on my little shelf. They're also like a work of art to me, because I have them displayed in my kitchen. You might have seen on photos. On the side, there's this like little sideboard. I was like, oh, I don't know what to put on there. I was like, I'm going to put my mugs next to my cup of tea station. Also, if you want a life hack, because I have so many people that come into my kitchen and ask me about this, I have a little jar filled with teaspoons next to where my cup of tea station is, so I don't have to walk. I sound like my kitchen is not actually that big. I sound like, oh yeah, my kitchen is so vast, I can't possibly walk to the other side of it to get a teaspoon. But I have two different teaspoon areas. I have it one where all my like knives and forks are, and then I have one next to my cup of tea station, which is the other side of the kitchen. So there we go. That's just one thing that my family have always done. Where you keep the cup of tea stuff, you have a little jar, and it's filled with little teaspoons, so it's easy access if you want to put some sugar in, get the tea bag out. I don't know, maybe that's a life hack, maybe that's just something that my family do, but it's something that I have incorporated into my life. And I tell you what, it might save like an extra like 2 seconds to my life, but it feels good, because I do love a cup of tea. Anyway, sorry, back to the flower show. We've had a whole section on cup of teas, but you know what? It's got to happen at some point. Anyway, moving on. What else? So basically it was incredible. They had like a Bridgerton garden that you could go in. They had a white garden. They had the Boodles garden. Obviously went in there as I was working with Boodles that it wasn't at the weekend, it was on a Monday. Felt like a weekend though that day. It felt like a fun little day out for me. I mean, it was, but so anyway, went around, looked at all the pretty flowers. They had so many incredible sculptures as well. Oh my goodness. But I had this one of a dragon that had like smoke coming out of his nose. It was huge. And I was like thinking to myself, how on earth do they transport these things here? Like, who's the dragon guy that like, you know, transports it in a van? Do they have to take it apart? Does it fit in one piece? And also these gardens, there was so much effort put into it, because if you think, at first I thought, oh, you know, maybe like a few days before they just plonk a few flowers in. Oh, no. If this is like weeks beforehand, like 3-4 weeks, they are preparing these gardens, making sure they've got the correct soil, the correct, like all the stuff that goes into it. Obviously, they've had to plan it beforehand. They've had to grow these flowers or these bushes or shrubs beforehand, or these trees. And then the logistics of transporting them all in, putting them together, make sure that they settle in the soil. Oh my goodness, there is so, when you look at it on TV or behind the scenes, you just kind of think, oh yeah, but the logistics behind it must be wild. Especially as some of the things, like there was archways that already had flowers growing up and around it, or wisteria or that kind of thing. And I'm like, that takes a long time to grow. That would take a long time to, grow up that tall all the way around the archway. So I would hate to be the person transporting that. Can you imagine? You'd have to be so careful. Like if one flower goes, someone is going to be mega raging at you. So anyway, that was very impressive to look around, and it was very pretty. So if you are near London and fancy a day out, do you know the best way I would describe it? If you are someone that is like me and loves a trip to the garden centre and also loves to go on Pinterest and look on there, it was like going around Pinterest in real life and the world's best garden centre. Although it was great for me, because the only thing I could buy or take home was a mug, because I was on the train. Everything else logistically wouldn't have been very easy to bring with me. So it was like having the best day at the garden centre, but coming home and, not buying a whole truckload of stuff. Did I buy a truckload of stuff yesterday at B&M at the garden centre there? I might have. I bought some, I was going to say, not hyacinths. Why has my brain suddenly gone blank? Hydrangeas. Hydrangeas, that is the word. I'm filming this podcast episode at 8 a.m. So there we go. I've got a busy day today. I thought I'd start it off with the podcast. Anyway, I've got some hydrangeas because apparently I'm such a gardening gal now. Look at me. According to the internet, apparently hydrangeas, they don't mind being in shade, and quite a lot of the bottom of my garden, because it kind of goes into the woods, is a bit shady. So I've got this one patch where it's empty, and I'm like, you know what? Put some hydrangeas in there. But anyway, back to Chelsea. So yeah, it was a lovely day out. I didn't do that much celebrity spotting. Remembered to take my diamonds back to Boodles. So yeah, it was a great day. And we only went for the morning because we had another busy day, because we actually had to run home because Mickey had the OptiVet, which is basically a horse optician, because poor Mix, his eye hasn't been too well recently. So obviously we have the vets around our place for many different reasons. We have many different equines. So Mickey's eye started just not looking, it went a little bit cloudy, I think, to start with. It just didn't quite look right, and we were like, that doesn't look right. So we got our vet to look at it. We've been back and forth with different medications and things, seeing if it worked. But anyway, it's come to the point where they're like, okay, time to get the OptiVet out, which is like, she knows her stuff. She knows everything about horse eyes. So we're like, cool. Would just say though, a little bit pricey, a little bit expensive. So if you're thinking about getting a horse and you haven't got one yet, just make sure that you do have an emergency fund for vet stuff, because you never know when you're going to have to cash out quite a bit of money to have a horse optician round or something like that. But Mickey, he is worth his weight in gold. He is priceless to us. Like Mickey, we have had for 14 years now. So he was my first pony. He's 25 now. He's an old boy, and we're like, Mickey, you're worth it. You're getting the full 5-star treatment. So we had the optician vet out. Now, we weren't sure what time that they were coming until the day, I'm pretty sure. So it worked out perfectly. We were like, go to the flower show in the morning, come home to the vet. So when we managed to get there, perfect timing. My mum had very kindly got Mickey in. She said the vets had just arrived like a few minutes before us, and we were like, I got to the yard. I was in this white dress with white heels and a white jacket, and which probably, when you think about it, is not the most practical attire when it comes to seeing horses. Although Mickey, he is a cremello. He's got a pink nose. He's got kind of like a whitish kind of coat. And he, when he's molting, a few white Mickey hairs and a white dress, that's fine. But Mickey, because of some of the medication that he's on, he's a little bit wet behind. You know, he's a little bit of a looser kind of guy when it comes to droppings. So anyway, we first arrived and I was like, where is Mickey? Where is my mum? I was like, hello, because I thought they'd just be on the yard somewhere. It was desolate. It was like a desert. Could not see. And then I heard this little, we're in here. I was like, in where? Looking around like, where are they? And then I realised that they were in my tack room because it has no windows, has no translucent roof sheets, like because of security reasons. You don't really want to have a window in your tack room. You don't want robbers or whoever's, nosing on by being like, oh, that's where they keep the expensive saddles. So even though if people watch my videos, they'd probably know exactly where I keep my tack. But anyway, moving on, we don't talk about that. So anyway, went into the tack room because they wanted to obviously have somewhere dark that they could put the light in Mickey's eye and be like, okay, can you read these letters out for me? No, they didn't actually say that. we were talking to a friend of ours. We were saying how Mickey's got the optician over, and then we're like, well, how do they see, like, say if the horse can see or not? And I was like, well, say how many carrots that were holding up or something like that. We found it funnier than it actually was. Anyway, so I walked in and there were just all these people in my tack room because there was my mum holding Mickey, there was the vet from our vet practice, there was the opti vet there, and then there was a student vet there as well. So there were 4 people on a horse in my little tack room, and I walked in, I was like, oh, hello, wasn't expecting you here. I needed to grab the key to my mum and dad's house from my mum, so that's why I didn't get changed. So I was walking up in this white dress, and anyway, I forgot that I was in this white dress. I ended up talking to the vets and that kind of thing, because obviously my main priority is my baby boy. I say my baby boy. So I had actually had this conversation the other day with my dad. I would love to know in the comments, how do you see your horse? Because to me, Joey and Duke, I have had them since I was like an adult. So to me, they are my children. I've had them since babies. I say babies. Joey was 5 when we got him. Duke was a yearling, so he was only 1. So to me, they are like my children. They are my babies. Casper, I don't know. Casper I got when I was 12, I think. So to me, he's like my BFF. He's like the one that's been there through my awkward teenage years, my teenage hood horse or teenage hood pony. Like, he's like my bro, my homie. And then Mickey, because he's a bit older than me and because I think my dad sees him as his child, to me, Mickey is like my older brother. He's like the older brother that taught me how to do things, taught me how to do life, has always been there. So I would describe Mickey as like my best friend and my older brother all in one. I don't know, in a weird kind of way. I don't know. Let me know how you see your horse, because some people, especially if maybe it's your parent, like I know a lot of my friends when I was around like 13, 14, a lot of my friends started riding their mum's horse. My mum didn't have a horse, so I didn't have that. Actually, I remember when I first turned up to Pony Club on Casper, who was way too big for me, but my parents were like, it's fine, you'll grow into him. All of my friends were like, oh, is that your mum's horse? I was like, no, my mum does not ride. My mum is probably... no, she's very good. Like, she looks after the horses while I'm away, and obviously very kindly got Mickey in from the field for the vets for me and that kind of thing. But if you put her on a horse, she would not know what she was doing, really. But which I feel like is fair enough to say. Last time she rode a horse was before we got Mickey, so a long old time ago. But anyway, so what was I saying? Opti-vet. So we were chatting, talking about Mickey's eye, how it was looking like, that kind of thing. And then Mickey's tail comes up and he does the wettest fart I have ever heard in my life. And this like dribble, sorry if this is a bit too much if you're eating, as you know, this is not a podcast to listen to while you're eating your dinner if you get put off by poo. But anyway, it sprayed out a little bit and I was in the firing line. Luckily, I have no idea how, but none got on my dress. A little bit went on the floor in the tack room, but that's okay. It's stone floor. We can mop it up. It's all good. I was like, on that note, can I have the key to the house, please, Mum? I'm going to get changed into my riding stuff up in the office in the loft. So anyway, quickly got changed, came back, talked about Mickey's eye. Mickey looked like he'd been to a rave or something afterwards, because they put all of these different coloured like eye drops in his eyes. So he looked like he had the boldest like green and orange eyeshadow, that kind of thing. I was going to say he looked like he was going through an emo phase, because when he was kind of like cried a little bit, it kind of went down his face, but it wasn't black. So he went through, I don't know, he was dressed up for Pride early. He had all the colours all over him. But anyway, so he bless him, because one eye can basically the drops and things they put in was to see if his eye could like dilate. One of them is good. So one of them, after having the stuff put in his eye, it was the cutest thing because he looked like a cartoon pony. That's the best way I can describe it. We had to put him back in his stable. We had to kind of like, it felt really bad. We had to like shut him all up and make sure that it was as dark as possible. So we made like a makeshift curtain out of an old 1970s towel that was my dad's when he was a kid that we still use as like horse towels, and everything. And yeah, he looked like a little cartoon because on one side his eye was like massive. I'd never seen his pupil, the pupils, the black bit, become so enlarged, and it was massive, and he just looked like a little cartoon pony. And then the other side, unfortunately, didn't quite work. That was his poorly eye. So his poorly eye is his left one. So hopefully the medication that he's been given will work, and that will sort it out. If not, the next thing that we'll have to look into will be Mickey having one eye. So he'll no longer be Mickey the blue-eyed. Well, actually, technically, he will still be a blue-eyed pony because he'll have one eye. But he won't be Mickey Blue Eyes anymore. He'll be Mickey Blue Eye, which is kind of sad. But you know what? He's an old horse. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. Obviously, it will be sad if he only has one eye. But Mickey's comfort and happiness is the main thing. And the Optivet was saying if a horse does need an eye out, a lot of the time you might find once they've had that eye taken out, they're a lot happier, they're a lot more themselves, they're a lot less reserved because, but we don't think that he can really see much out of that eye anyway. So yeah, that is the Mickey update for you all. Hopefully these new eye drops and medication, and I think he's on steroids at the moment actually. So obviously we need to make sure that medication suits him. He's gonna get retested for his Cushing's again too. Obviously he has that done regularly, but again, depending on the medications and all the things that he's been on, we want to make sure that everything is all good. Mickey is getting like a full old man MOT at the moment, so yes, but no, apart from that, he seems his normal Mickey self, very happy, very, you guys know Mickey has a very big personality, and we would know if something was really not right with him and he still loves his food. So there we go. He is definitely his normal happy Mickey self. He just can't really see that well out of one eye, but bless him, he's doing really well other than that. So yeah, I will keep you updated on Mickey's eye situation, but for now, he's doing well. Alrighty, on that note, I think we're going to wrap up today's podcast episode here. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about my adventures in London and my doing the ABBA boat. That was quite good fun. That was cool. That was this podcast. I feel like I've been chatting away for ages. You must be bored of my voice. But anyway, I just want to say a huge thank you to Red Post for sponsoring the podcast. Be sure to go and download the Red Post app, especially as it's so easy and quick, especially if you have something like, I don't know, mane and tail detangler or fly spray that you might run out and be like, oh, I just need to get some real quick, super easy. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye!